start the recording.
Great. Is there anyone here who has not participated in an empathy circle yet? Scott, have you participated?
I have not participated in empathy.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, welcome. Welcome to the empathy movement, and this is an introduction and orientation to the empathy circle. I'm Kathy Kidd with the Center for Building a Culture of Empathy, and we're glad to see you here, Scott, and everybody else. I'm calling from Houston, Texas. I'm a psychotherapist and a social worker, and I've been attending the empathy circles for 2 years, was immediately hooked the first time, and now I'm a trainer. And as Edwin said, we're recording this call for educational purposes. Wherever Edwin is, it will be recorded. And the Center for Building a Culture of Empathy was founded by Edwin Rush, and empathy circles began in 2011. Empathy is the foundation for kindness and understanding. It allows us to connect with others and build meaningful relationships. It's also crucial for creating a more just and equitable society and building healthy and sustainable communities. And listening is the foundation and gateway to empathy, and empathy circles allow us to learn, practice, and deepen our listening skills. The mission of the Center for Building a Culture of Empathy is to scale up and train everyone in the world in how to take part and facilitate an empathy circle. And there's also in development the Empathy Center in Santa Barbara, future home of an empathy-based educational retreat center. And there's actually going to be an in-person empathy circle training in September. So we're going to tour in just a moment. We're going to tour the Santa Barbara Empathy Center. We'll tour the training website for anyone who wants to take the training in August. And if you have already taken the training once, you can take it multiple times to become a trainer. We'll do a how to do an empathy circle for Scott. It'll be brief because you really, it's really the experience of being an empathy circle that'll show you how to what we're doing. We'll have a 90-minute empathy circle, and then we'll come back together if we break out in smaller groups to debrief how the empathy circle was for us. And so since we're a small group, why don't we take 30 seconds each just to introduce ourselves, tell me your name, where you're calling from, and 30 seconds, what brings you here today. So Zach, can we start with you?
Absolutely. Thanks for the opportunity. My name is Zach Ware, and I come from Eugene, Oregon. And I am the founder and developer of a software product called Pollock Action, pollockaction.com. And it's a Zoom-like app that takes our insights, what we learned from empathy circles, and makes it a bit easier and more intuitive to actually operate those empathy circles on a platform. And so anyone is welcome to email me about that. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Zach. Bill, 30 seconds or less, introduce yourself.
Yeah, my name is Bill Filler. I was a special education teacher teaching severely emotionally disturbed kids and also kids on the autistic spectrum for more years than I care to recount. I've been working with Edwin for about 5 years, taking the empathy circle out and helped to design with Edwin and Lou the empathy circle facilitation training, not the circle itself. That's all, Edwin. Thanks.
All right, thank you. Jonathan, a brief introduction.
Yes, my name is Jonathan Gordon, and I live here in the Bay Area, San Francisco Bay Area. And I would say I was a community activist. And what draws me to continue to participate very actively in this movement is the hope that it can be used to bridge the political divide. There's just walls that have been put up to communication, and I see this process as an attempt to overcome division. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Sally, 30 seconds or less. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, Sally Rodman. I grew up in Santa Barbara. I've been doing this since February 2020. Finally got the hang of it and spent a lot of time listening and improving that skill.
Thank you, Sally. Larry, you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, I hope the sound is working. I'm Larry in Florida. I'm a retired occupational therapist, and I came across Edwin and the Empathy Circles on YouTube. I've watched it and watched it and watched it, and I just couldn't believe what this was. So I fell in love with it. I think empathy is the missing link to human beings being able to live in peace with one another. Inside empathy circles, outside empathy circles, everywhere in the universe. That's a little expansive, so I'll stop there.
Thank you, Larry. Scott, would you like to tell us where you're calling from and what brings you here today, and how did you find out about us?
Absolutely. So my name is Scott Clausen. I'm an Episcopal priest based in Santa Barbara, California. And I'm actually, just with full candor, I'm at one of my child's swim lessons right now. So just to understand that. I am involved in a variety of interfaith responses to climate change and some other interfaith work. And I found out about you directly from Radley Weininger and some of the work that she's doing around here. And anyway, I look forward to hearing more. I may be in and out a little bit just because by virtue of my children.
Welcome, Scott. Dr. Golda, would you like to finish off our 9 square gathering and let us know what brings you here today in 30 seconds or less?
Sure. I'm Dr. Golda Joseph, currently living in Seattle. I was invited by Larry. I have been facilitating empathy my whole life. And am a practicing expressive art therapist and teacher of spiritual science.
Wonderful. Thank you and welcome.
Thank you.
And Edwin, do you want to introduce yourself and then show the Santa Barbara Retreat Center?
Okay. I also want to mention that this call here is also like an introduction. It's a way for the community to connect with us at the Empathy Center in Santa Barbara, where I am right now. So I'm director of the Empathy Center and been working on how do we really raise the level of empathy in society for on this topic, on this project for about 15 years now. And my brother purchased this property, this center in Santa Barbara. So we're just in the process of developing it and building the Empathy Center here, and really excited about it. And thanks everyone for coming. And I'll actually, let me bring up a screenshot and I'll give just a quick tour. So this is the center here. You can see if we zoom way out, we're in Santa Barbara. It's only about 10 minutes from downtown Santa Barbara. And if we zoom in, it's a 35-acre property that was a Catholic seminary. Went through some various different iterations of different programs they were trying to do here. I guess the previous owners ran out of money. They put it up on auction. My brother purchased it on auction and then called me and said, hey, guess what? I bought a monastery. Would you manage it? So I said, oh, well, let's take a look at it. And the more I get into it, the more excited I am about this. It's 55,000 square feet. I'm actually sitting right now in the room right here under this tree. And this wing here has been renovated, and there's about 14, 15 rooms that just need furnishings and a kitchen. And I did put into the chat a link to the tour, so you can go in and take a photo tour. And let's see, somebody's wanting to get in. It's you can see it's butts up against the national forest, I mean. So it's like just national forest behind, sits on a hill, and you have this beautiful view of all of Santa Barbara. And so that's just a quick overview of the space. You can also see this painting behind me. And we're working now to develop the property, looking to hear people's ideas and to connect with people. Really glad Scott is here. Would really looking forward to talking to you more about interfaith work that we'd like to do here as well. So yeah, Kathy.
Thank you, Edwin. So next we're going to review the training website.
Oh,
and
there's one
sign
new
up.
person came. I just see Michael is.
Oh, okay, great. Welcome, Michael.
And Crystal, if they want to do a quick intro, if they're.
Oh, great. Crystal or Michael, do you want to take 30 seconds to introduce yourself? Have you done an empathy circle before, and what brings you here today? Michael, we can't hear you if you're speaking. I'll go to Crystal. Crystal, do you want to take 30 seconds to introduce yourself? Oh, say Crystal says that she can't speak at the moment. Okay, great. Michael, I'm going to give you another opportunity. If you could maybe turn on your camera and introduce yourself, or put in the chat if you're not able to do that, so we'll know that we're not skipping over you. All right, I'm going to go ahead and go to the training website and the process for signing up for the Empathy Circle Facilitator training. If you're new, today is your introduction to the Empathy Circle practice. To take the training, you want to participate in 2 empathy circles. So today would be the first empathy circle you're participating in. And go ahead, Bill, and pull up the website and go through that with us.
Sure. Okay. Hopefully you can see that. Let's see here. All right. So this is the training. Let me get a little bit. There we go. Okay. So this is the bestempathytraining.com. That's where you can land on this page. This is a former cohort. And I could move that. Here it is. Okay. So essentially, we have here a video that will take you on a tour of the website and show you. This is Edwin doing an empathy circle with a class at UC Berkeley. Our vision is to basically spread this practice of reflective listening throughout the world, closely aligned to our mission. All 8 billion people, so get to work, people. So it's an open source, so it means that you can take this and this basic idea and then incorporate into your own therapies or your own presentation, things like that. The training, if you'd like, it's free to if you'd like to donate up to $300, so more if you feel so inclined. And if you want to take the training, it's a 4-session online training on Saturdays, starting August 5th and going through August 26th. And so this will be one of the circles. It's a 2-circle prerequisite. And this is at the Introduction Cafe, self-explanatory. If you do take it, it's very important because we have people and we shift people around. And so the numbers, if they shift, it makes it hard on us. So if you do take it, please commit to all 4 trainings. And the training path, this is an introduction. A lot of people, as Kathy said, she'd become a trainer. That means she'd taken the training and presented it 5 times. So you can take it as many times as you want, essentially. There's no pressure. No salesman will come to your door. If you take all the 4 sessions and you're there, you get a certificate of completion. This is not the same as a CEU or credit. We're looking into that. If anybody has any connections to that, we'd love to review it, because we feel our training is rigorous and important. And also we want to make connections between people. As people learn to reflectively listen, we think that it basically enhances human relations, and that's what we're all about. You want to sign up, you can go over here. There are a bunch of landings, and this is the information for Saturdays. That's me. You can email me if you have any questions, and there's an email list you can do. Okay. And I don't want to take too much time if there are any quick questions, but if not, we'll just go on. Okay.
Thank you,
Thanks.
Bill. All right, we're going to do a quick how to take part in an empathy circle. And remembering this is an experiential learning process. So being in the empathy circle is what will really help you understand what we're doing and participate in that. And there are no mistakes when you're learning. So I'm just going to pull up the PDF. So most circles have 3 to 5 participants, sometimes a little more. And there are 4 roles. There is the speaker, there is the person who is the active listener, everybody else are the silent listeners, and then there's the person facilitating the circle. So just helping guide things along. And everybody gets a 4-minute turn. So the facilitator is watching the time for everyone. So somebody will speak, and then the active listener will reflect back what they're hearing. And the speaker wants to speak in small chunks, one idea, so that it gives the listener an opportunity to reflect and not forget anything. And then once you are a listener, then you get to be the speaker. So it'll be somebody speaking, somebody listening, then the listener becomes the speaker and chooses somebody to listen to them, and it goes on around the circle. And so tips. The speaker pause often, so the listener has a chance to reflect what they heard. When you feel fully heard, you can say, I feel fully heard. You don't have to use your whole 4 minutes. If you feel heard before that time, you can indicate that. If you don't feel heard, you can tell the person reflecting back, that's not exactly what I said, and try to get your point across again. And the person who's reflecting, just in your own words, or you can even use the words that the speaker is using to allow them to hear what they've heard, reflect it back, and they can let you know if that's accurate. Something that's different for most of us when we're listening and speaking, the listener only reflects back what they heard. They don't add their comments. They don't agree. They don't say, well, have you thought about this? Same with the silent listeners. The silent listeners are silent, still active in the process because they're holding the space and giving the speaker their full attention. And so let's say you have a comment you wanted to make when somebody's talking to you. Then when it comes your turn, you can say, about this, I think that this is a really great idea. And then that's how you get your point across. There may be a topic in the circle that's unfolding. When it's your turn, you can continue that topic, or you can speak about whatever's on your mind. You don't have to stick to any particular topic that's developing. And so I think that is enough for now. We always have a topic for a circle, and we take 4-minute turns. And the topic today is, do you want to put it in the chat, Edwin? What is your vision for an empathy-based retreat center in Santa Barbara, California? How would you like to be involved? And as always, you can speak about whatever is on your mind. And we will break into groups for 90 minutes, and you'll have a 10-minute warning when it's time to go back. And facilitators can allow a few minutes at the end to debrief in your small circle, we'll come back and we'll debrief in the larger circle. So what would you like to add to this, Edwin?
I just was wondering if we should just stay in one circle for now. Scott dropped out because of his kids, and everyone, we all know each other. So
Yeah.
have us maybe a smaller, make sure everybody has at least 1 or 2 turns. And
yeah, sure.
Okay.
Shall we do 3-minute turns?
Okay, yeah, that would be good.
Okay, wonderful. I can do the timing. So I'll time 3 minutes. When your time is up, I'll hold up a heart so you know to finish up whatever your thought is as quickly as possible. You want to honor the time because mutuality and equality are part of the values of the circle. And you do get your reflection. So you will finish up your thought and get your reflection back to you. And so I will be the first person to listen. Let me get my timer out here. Who would like to be the first speaker?
Larry's raising his hand.
Wonderful. I was getting my timer out. Thank you, Larry. I am listening.
Thank you, Kathy. Well, I'm going to start right out by saying I love empathy circles.
Oh, you're going to start by letting everyone know how much you love empathy circles.
Yeah, that might be a surprise.
It might be a surprise for some people.
Yeah. I really do see empathy as the missing link to humans being able to live peacefully together.
Mm-hmm. So you see empathy as something that could allow us to live peacefully together, and it's missing in our society right now.
Yeah, empathy seems like it is the missing link to peace.
Empathy is the missing link to peace.
Right, because all civilizations have been taught a domination, warlike thought system.
We've been taught a warlike domination thought system.
Right, and you can't really go to war and kill your neighbor if you have empathy.
Right. So empathy would be inconsistent with war. There's no possibility for it to happen if there's empathy present.
Exactly. And with empathy, people would be more willing to sit down at a table and have a conversation, which in the end they're going to do anyway.
So empathy is the shortcut to a conversation that's going to happen at some point anyway.
Mm-hmm. It's inevitable. We're going to talk to one another.
Yeah, it's inevitable that we're going to talk to one another.
Thank you, Kathy. I feel fully heard. Thank you.
Thank you, Larry.
Thank you, Kathy.
Okay, so since I was the listener, it's my turn to be the speaker, and I'm going to ask Bill to be my listener.
Happy. I'm listening.
Okay, so what do I want to talk about? Well, my birthday was Monday, July the 10th. And some people I volunteer with sent me these beautiful flowers. It was a complete surprise.
Oh, so you wanted to let us know that your birthday was July 10th, and some people that you volunteer with sent you those flowers behind you, beautiful flowers, as a surprise.
Yeah, this was like one of those really good birthdays. You know, sometimes you have really good birthdays, and other birthdays are like just a little blip on the radar.
Right. So yeah, you were contrasting this birthday, which was really good, with other birthdays that sometimes are very uneventful.
Yeah. And I'm not the kind of person where you have to make a big deal about my birthday. It doesn't really matter to me because I can make a big deal about it myself. I can do what I want to for myself.
Yeah. So you generally, what other people do about your birthday is not as important to you, because if you really feel you need to make it important, you can do that yourself.
Right. Or buy something, I can buy it myself. In fact, I don't really like people to buy me stuff because I'm very picky.
Right. So you buy your own presents, or you're kind of picky. So, generally,
Yeah. So two of my sisters bought me stuff and I told them to take it back because I don't like it. Right. But I can do that with them. I could maybe do it with a friend or somebody, right?
right.
Then I told them this year, don't buy me presents going forward. I'll stop there.
Sure. So your sisters bought you presents, and you told them to take them back, and you realize that that's, with your sisters, you have a relationship where it's secure enough that you can do that. You wouldn't do that to a friend.
I might do it to maybe one of my friends, but
what-
so of what I did this year, after my birthday was I sent out an email I have 4 sisters. There's 5 girls, no boys. And I told them what my love language was, and I wanted to know their love language. So going forward, we can do what we all like for our birthdays.
So one of the things you did is you sent out to your 4 other sisters, or 5 girls, and asked them what their love language is. You told them what your love language is, and so you could communicate in those terms.
Yes. And they did do something for my love language. They took me to the Golden Nugget Casino and Resort. And I loved that they did that for me. I didn't ask them. They just said, we want to do this. And so we all went there. It was really fun.
So in sharing your love language, they realized that you would like to go to the Golden Nugget Casino and Resort. And so they just kind of sprung that on you, and you loved it, and you had a good time.
Yeah, thank you. I feel complete.
Okay, great. All right. Let's see, Zach.
Yep.
Okay. Well, I remember when I introduced the concept of empathy circles to a very good friend of mine who I go kayaking, I've known for 30 years or more. He was excited about it. I'll stop there.
So a kayaking friend you've known for 30 years, you broached the empathy circle dimension of your life, and you got an excited response from him.
Yeah, and he said, "Yeah, I remember we did something like that. I did it 20 years ago. It was just like an in-service, and I was reflecting with this woman. It was a really powerful experience."
And so his mind went right to like an experience 20 years ago where he was like, "Oh yeah, I did that exact thing," and that's like a valuable memory to me.
Yeah, and so I said, "Oh, that's great. For my next birthday, I'd like to invite everybody, and everybody would just give the gift of listening." I'll stop there.
And so you suggested, like, why don't we set up like a party, or like a hangout among friends where we do this
For my next birthday party.
Oh, for your next birthday party.
Yeah, yeah, to give them gifts of listening. And he turned to me and said, "That's great. I'll send you a card."
so that's where he kind of sailed a little off the rails. He's like, "Oh yeah, we're not doing an empathy circle. I'll send you like a postcard."
Yeah.
Or birthday card.
And that's yeah. And that's been sort of the experience of really trying through the trainings, through all the things that we all try to do, is to really help people integrate into their lives. And it's kind of humorous, and it's also very difficult.
Yeah, so it's like even in this situation where you actually like connected the concept with someone and they even fetched a memory about it, you kind of like continued the conversation, and it seemed like wait, now we're talking something that's just different. Like maybe we're talking about 2 different things. We're not actually on the same page anymore.
Right. And in conclusion, I'll just say that we face those difficulties. I've seen the reaction of people in the empathy circle, and I have never once lost faith in its ability, but just wondering how to present it so people can digest it. But always held the faith in the empathy circle process. That's it. Thanks.
So yeah, so open question, open career. The area of growth is the whole introductory pattern for folks.
Mm-hmm.
It's like once they're in, okay, but getting to actually doing it is the challenge.
Thanks, Zach. I feel fully heard.
Pleasure. All right. Let's see here, Jonathan.
Yes, Jack.
Hit it. All right. So since we're on the birthday theme, I just happen to have a little birthday present for a couple of friends of mine who are a couple, and so I'll show and tell this thing. And it's a premium cat toy. They have 2 cats they love very much, and I don't know how well the camera's going to capture this. That's pretty good. It's called a little hex bug, and I'll stop there. I'll pause there real quick.
Well, you're showing us a cat toy, and you're not confident that the resolution of the cameras and lighting is good enough, but nevertheless, you think it's a wonderful little toy.
And the reason I love this thing is, oh, it's got a little floofy whatever, all right, cat toy. That cat toys have those things. But what makes it special is that this thing has little nylon feet on it that are flexible, and inside of it is a little battery and a vibrator, and that's how it travels around. It will just kind of dance on hard surfaces and do little circles and stuff like that. I'll pause there.
And so you think this is a wonderfully attractive toy for cats because it has a little rubber feet, and it also is electronically activated kind of little vibrator. And so that once you turn it on and throw it down on the floor, it of course moves around, and of course that's irresistible for a cat.
And for me too, I suppose. And so, the last message I'll share about this is, people my age aren't necessarily like huge on like wrapping gifts with gift paper anymore. Like I know it's like, I think the real trend is like gift bags, since those things are like reusable. Like we can all like trade around gift bags. I think people of all ages, particularly like millennials, are kind of done wrapping presents. I'll pause there.
So you're making a generalization that you feel that people around your age, or there's a trend that's attracting people around your age to put things in recyclable bags rather than doing a lot of wrapping.
And so my idea, instead of even doing a gift bag for this, I might end up doing a gift bag. I'm gonna give it to him tomorrow. The idea I came up with this morning is, and I would like kind of like brace one of my friends to do this, is we're gonna do a paperless unwrapping. And my basic idea for it is I'm gonna tell them like, okay, it's gonna be in my hand, and when I take it out of my pocket, it's in my hand. I want you to take your hands. I want you to cup your hands around my hand, and then I'm gonna open my hand, and that's how I'm gonna reveal the gift to you.
So you're trying to innovate a more intimate, more close, literal handing off of the present. And you're going to put the little toy in your pocket, cup your hand and pull it out, and then ask the recipient to cover your hands. And then through a little bit of work, you're going to get your hands out, leaving the toy, so that the reveal will be when they open their palms, they're going to see, oh, but the importance of what you're stressing here is that this is going to be an extraordinary tactile, multimodal, and personal gifting.
Yeah, totally landed it. All right, thank you, Jonathan. Appreciate it. That's one time.
You're very, very welcome. Let me scan through here. Dr. Golda, would you be my listener?
Sure.
So I'm working on a project to try and bring the empathy listening practice to a nonprofit senior center. Now, this organization is not connected with the city. This is a standalone nonprofit.
You're currently working on a project to bring empathy listening to a nonprofit. that is independent.
And I'm purposefully making the distinction because I feel the need to sculpt the proposal to the organization.
And you are purposely making the distinction to create the proposal to meet the specific organizational structure.
Yes, and some of the organizations that we're planning, that I'm planning and we're planning to bring it to are government owned. In other words, a government recreation program. And the one that we're currently starting with it is an independent corporation, just a community center for senior adults.
So there's a we are working on planning on organizational level to work with government recreation programs. But this first project that you want to start with is directed toward not senior living community that is not connected to the government.
And to make a distinction, we're not working with dementia or disabled. These are fully functioning, both in the recreational realm and in the nonprofit corporation. It's just a community center for regular people that find themselves age challenged.
So the key or the distinction that you're making is those that will participate are fully functioning, and they're working with the community center that you're targeting.
Yes. And so what I've been caught up with is how to prepare written materials to educate, to sell the program or to educate people on the program in order for them to embrace the program.
So what you're working on is how to develop written materials to educate the people who you want to serve.
And so, so labeling the program becomes important to me.
Labeling the program correctly to meet the needs of the organization is important to you.
Thank you very much for reflecting.
Thank you. Edwin, I don't see you, but I know you're there.
Yeah, listening.
Okay. Yeah, and so I wanted to go back to the intent of this, the topic that was proposed for this meeting.
Do you want to go back to the topic that was proposed for this meeting?
And twofold. One was to share my vision for an empathy center. And the other is to really look at how I can best be involved with the organization.
So one is you'd like to share your vision for the space and also how you might be involved in it.
Obviously, I have been in the empathy world my entire adult life. I began as a humanistic and transpersonal psychologist and expressive art therapist, and was trained in Rogerian person-centered therapy from the beginning.
Wow. So you've been involved in the empathy work for a long time. You've been a humanist, have done Rogerian therapy, so have really been involved in the empathy work for quite a while.
Yes, and including the 60s and 70s at Esalen, which was really very strongly oriented in this direction. And as I spoke earlier, initiated many Buddhist and healing centers and holistic centers throughout the world.
So you've been really involved in setting up healing centers. You were at Esalen back in the 60s and 70s. And so you have a pretty extensive track record experience in this direction.
Yes, as well as in the domain of education. So I also served at California Institute of Integral Studies for many years. And so I have a long history of doing this work. Currently, I am teaching empathy in motion, inner leadership. I don't want to overwhelm you, so I'm going to
Yeah,
stop.
you're working. You are teaching empathy. It's the program's called Empathy in Motion. It's about inner leadership.
Yes, I'm working daily in Ukraine and Russia, in Israel, in Slovakia, in the UK. So basically my work since I left America in 2005 has been focused on the international realm.
So you've been working on the international realm with Israel and Ukraine and Russia and some overseas different countries.
Yeah.
And that was the time that the time was just held up. It'll come up again. You'll have another turn to continue.
Okay, great.
So I'll speak to Crystal.
Thank you.
Yes, so I'm here at the center. I've been here for 2 weeks now, and we had one event here with 26 people. It was really, really nice event.
Yeah, so you've been at the center for 2 weeks now, and you had an event recently, 2 weeks within the last 2 weeks with 26 attendees.
And what's sort of emerging now, I think we're ready to start holding workshops here. And we want to start with the library and have it as just a free community event, a space people can come up maybe till the end of the year, freely use it so we can connect with different community groups.
Yeah, you're ready to start events, and you're going to start with the library as a free space for people to come in and explore empathy.
Not explore empathy, it can be any kind of group. There's a 12-step group. It met here before. The previous owners had let them use the space to keep up the conditional use permit. You have to use the space to keep your permits active. So they had let a 12-step program be here. So that program could be here, mindfulness. There's a lot of different community groups that are looking for space. So any group could kind of schedule the space.
Yeah, so I'm hearing you speak to the importance of the licensing piece and opening the door to and having events and opening the door to communities and organizations outside of the empathy movement.
Right. It's just really to build a community connection, because a lot of the community members are coming up and saying, oh, we'd really like to support this. We'd like to volunteer. We'd like to hold workshops. So we're really in the process of developing those relationships.
Yeah, so I'm hearing you speak to the importance of developing relationships with diverse organizations.
Yeah, so I'm excited about that. I think it's a good step forward. Yeah, and then the second part is we have 2 workshops lined up. One, just a day-long empathy circle mindfulness combination workshop with Rodley, who Scott had mentioned, and then our facilitator training that's in September as well. So we've got 2 of those workshops. I think we're ready to start using the space for more workshops.
Yeah, and I'm hearing your excitement for using the space for more workshops, one being the training and another one being with Bill and another one being with mindfulness. And I didn't hear the name.
Yeah, it's the person that brought up that group. Anyway, that doesn't matter. It's and then also looking, did you hold up the sign? I don't know, was that my 3 minutes? Okay, I feel heard.
just going to take a moment, take a deep breath. Well, I love Kathy's birthday gift to her friends and peers in sharing the 5 love languages, acts of service. Oh, and who am I going to speak to? Sally, will you be my listener, please?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so my birthday was July 1st and turned 53, woohoo. And I see births as a revolution around the sun. And what is my gift in the next revolution? What do I want to give the universe? Yeah.
It was your birthday on July 1st, and something about the revolution around the sun.
Mhm.
And what is your gift? I'm so sorry. I'm just
Yeah, so I tend to think of birthdays in terms of my gift, and I love Edwin's gift to the universe and building a culture of empathy, and Dr. Golda's gift, and what I'm hearing from each of us are our gifts to the universe.
okay. So you heard Edwin's gift, this empathy center in Santa Barbara, and Golda's gift to every person she reaches internationally.
Yeah, and Zach's gift in building potluck action, and Jonathan with senior citizens, and Bill in education.
And Zach's gift with potluck action, and then Jonathan was, I guess I'm down right, with senior centers. And I think after that you said Bill's with, oh wait, it was
Education.
Education. Sorry.
Yeah.
I
And
must be scattered.
No, you're doing great. And it just reminds me, like the sages, that, you know, you change a life and you change the universe. And that is how we make a difference, shaping humanity, one life at a time, one day at a time, one act at a time. And that's a lot. Yeah. Yeah.
So we in our life, we impact another, and that in itself has a huge ability to impact the earth.
Yeah. And I'm sorry I interrupted you. Please go on.
No, it's fine.
You were saying one person? Yeah.
Yeah, I was just saying you're impacting one person, or you could be impacting, let's say, a senior center, but I know you didn't say that, so.
And Sally, how you're giving the universe your gift of your presence, and showing up at all of these meetings with us and your emails to me. And I just want to celebrate your contribution as well.
And you're saying to me that my presence and my giving to the earth, present at all these meetings, and the emails I sent to you are nurturing, or
You are a gift to the universe.
I am a gift to the universe.
You are. And life is a team sport.
That was time.
Yeah, thank you. I felt really hard.
That was wild. Larry, I don't think you have been called on.
Ready, Sally.
Okay, well, I'm a student of Larry. Whether he knows it or not, I put everything in, I document pretty much everything he says.
So Sally, I hear you saying that you're a student of Larry and you pretty much document everything that he says.
Yeah, I have this little app on my phone called Todoist. And every time he makes a quote, I put it in there for future reference.
And you have a little app on your phone that is called To-Do List. And every time you hear a quote, you add it to the to-do list.
Yeah, it's Todoist.
It's to do it.
IST.
To do ist, I-S-T.
Yeah, that's the name of the app. And so I'm just kind of a student of the universe, and I kind of keep my just, like I have tentacles and I'm grabbing at knowledge and people who are sages and absorbing what I can't, absorbing what I can. And I think that's it.
So you're a student of the universe, and you're collecting and you said grasping at knowledge and truth and quotes and whatever sages offer as gifts in the universe, something like that.
Yeah, I couldn't have said it better. Thank you. I feel fully heard.
Thank you, Sally. Jonathan, will you be my listener?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, I really like this idea of that we're living in an infinite universe.
You like the idea that we're living in an infinite universe.
And besides my liking it, I think it's actually a fact.
And beyond liking it, you think that it is a fact.
Yeah. And science tells us that from the stars came all of the electrons and atoms in existence.
And you're saying that human science says that all of the atoms came from the stars.
Billions of years ago.
And that was billions of years ago.
And it's the same electrons and atoms and molecules that make water and air was made billions of years ago.
And that the atoms that make water and air and the things we see around us was actually made billions of years ago.
And everything that we know of as living really is made of stardust.
And everything we know as living is made of stardust.
And science tells us that when an atom, electron, is created in the furnace of a star, that energy will last eternally.
And science tells things that were made,
And we're all made of
forever,
that stardust.
and that we're all made of stardust.
And we're all interconnected with the infinite universe.
And that we're all interconnected with the infinite universe.
So the idea of separation is just an idea. It is just a mistake.
And so you're saying that the ideas of separation are just an idea, and that it is a mistake.
And empathy is the melting of the idea of separation.
And that empathy is the idea of melding that separation.
Melting, dissolving the idea of separation.
Melting it and dissolving it or removing it.
Thank you, Jonathan. I feel fully heard.
Well, thank you. Let me see who.
Has Bill gone?
No. Let's, Bill, would you reflect?
Sure, I have gone, but sure, I'll be happy to.
Okay. So in keeping with today's topic, because I'm caregiving and I have actually 3 caregiving clients, I can't come to Santa Barbara because I have responsibilities.
Oh, and so you were talking about the discussion today about the Canoas Center, and because you have 3 giving clients, you can't come to Santa Barbara. You have responsibilities.
So my contribution to the center is helping sustain the facilitation training course.
So your contribution to the center is by supporting the facilitation training course.
And the facilitation training course is absolutely necessary for the project of bringing circles into community centers.
And so the facilitation training process is absolutely necessary for bringing the practice into community centers.
Because we need to be able to train staff at those centers to be facilitators.
Right, and the idea of doing that is to train the staff at those centers to be empathy circle facilitators.
And connection with a much larger group such as this gives us access to other facilitators and people who are working on similar projects, which helps me learn how to do it and to benefit from their experience.
So you're saying that gatherings like these and others help you in honing your skills as a facilitator and also how to train others.
And to reach the goal of, what are we at, 16 billion people? We have to train and we have to get other people involved. And so having a focal group as the, and I wish I could pronounce, I always mispronounce, having this wonderful center in Santa Barbara is just a wonderful assist in helping me locally.
So you're saying that the existence of the Santa Barbara Center, the Canoas Center, helps you in your projects locally?
Yes, I think the circles stand alone, but we're in a complicated world, and so sometimes pointing to success, say, oh yes, this is not just Jonathan, tilting at windmills. There's a whole movement here. There's a whole organization. There's structure.
So in order to enable the goal to spread the empathy circle reflection listening circles, it's important to have a concrete example and other things like that that give people some sort of concrete notion of it and validation.
Thank you, Bill. I feel fully heard.
Okay. All right, Dr. Golda, would you listen to me?
Sure, Bill.
So the first thing I wanted to say is just when we were talking about our mutual connection with the California Institute of Integral Studies, which I knew was Asian Studies when I attended, and Bishop Siaku, who I loved. And one of the greatest things I still remember him saying, he goes, Buddha does not need Buddhism. I'll stop there.
So reflecting on our mutual experience at the California Institute of Asian Studies
Yeah.
back in the early 70s, we both had the opportunity to spend time with Bishop Siaku. And one of the things that he said with joy is that the Buddha doesn't need Buddhism.
Right. And he talked about the practice of sort of religion. He goes, it's like a medicine, and a medicine is a poison to get the illness out. But once the illness is out, you don't need the poison anymore.
So he spoke about the practice of religion like it's a medicine, and we use it. He said we use it medicine as a poison to remove the illness, and then you no longer need the medicine.
Yeah, thanks. So I want to express my appreciation for you because I love Bishop Siako and I love the Institute, and bringing up these memories I'm very grateful for.
So thank you. You are expressing your appreciation toward me and the history that we shared together since our common bond at the Institute. And it brings up very wonderful memories for you and me.
Thank you. I feel fully heard.
Thank you. Crystal, are you free?
Yeah, please. Thank you.
Available?
Thank you.
Yes, I once again, I'm going to go back to the theme of the day because I moved back to Seattle. I moved to Seattle the end of April to stay at my daughter's home. And I had a conversation with Larry at that time, telling him that I really felt like I was returning to the United States and that I wanted to work in collaboration with a center revolving around empathy and spirituality.
Yeah, you're reflecting back on how you've returned to the United States to your daughter and her home. And it's brought you to the realization that you would like to work with a center, and going back to empathy and your roots.
The specifically the conversation with Larry, the synchronicity of my request, and I think it was when I was still living in Panama, that I really wanted to, because I've done a lot of work in creating centers and temples and meditation spaces and clinics and et cetera, all over the world now. And that I really felt like I was being called back to the United States. Number one, where I could speak the language, and a place where I could bring the work that I've accumulated the last 50 some years out into the world in a way where it's supported and where there's a collaboration that's much larger than just my work.
Yeah, and I'm hearing you speak to the synchronicity of the universe bringing you home, and honoring your conversation with Larry, and demonstrating that you have acquired all of these skills with your work over the years and creating these centers founded on different philosophies, and that you're excited about exploring what's next. Yeah.
Yeah. So an interesting fact that I love to share with everyone is that the word empathy was put in the dictionary in 1951 as a result of Carl Rogers' work. So it's very young. I was born in 51. So it's really interesting to me that we are all here doing this at its beginning.
Wow. And I'm hearing you speak to how you were born the same year that the empathy was put in the dictionary as a result of Carl Rogers' work. Very interesting fact. Yeah.
Yeah. And that was also the first counseling course in my master's program, was based on empathy. And currently I only work my conversation phase of the work that I teach and practice globally. It is based on only doing empathic responses and facilitating empathy.
Yeah, so I'm hearing you reflect back to your college experience, and that all of your work is built on this reflective listening and empathic response.
Yes, and we
That was time.
Wow. Zach, would you be my listener?
Yeah, you got it. No, your video feed is frozen for me right now, so I'm gonna see.
Oh, let me start it and stop it. Yeah, is that better?
Yep, cool.
Oh,
Yep, perfect.
yeah.
Thank you.
Talk about empathy in action since 1951. Woo.
Yeah, so, all right, reflecting on Dr. Golda's previous statement or disclosure of the dictionary definition 51.
Yeah, and how we all are birthing a movement, whether it's through our academic knowledge, our street knowledge, or our legal knowledge like mine, or your political knowledge, and how a journey of 1,000 miles begins with an individual step towards collective steps. Yeah.
So, all right, so naming my microphone a little bit better there is that as we're assembling as a community, we're bringing together very different skill sets, and that's contributing to starting a movement.
Yeah, and that we're birthing a movement, just the feeling that resonates in me as a woman and having birthed children, and just is a gift. Yeah.
Having experienced the wonders of childbirth yourself and being a mother, you're not just paying respect, but holding is very important. The fact that we're giving birth to, we're delivering something into the world that has its own life, and we're parenting it, we're stewards of it.
Exactly. Yeah. And recognizing that life is a team sport, not an individual sport.
Yep, life in general is not something you do alone. It's something you do together with other humans and teams
Yeah.
and communities.
There's not one leader or one, it's all of us coming together and building on the work of those before us for future generations in front of us.
Yep, whenever each of us does a thing, it's because of that collective effort. I think you said generations before it, but standing on shoulders of giants.
And what Edwin has is this beautiful gift in his hand to create a center. And I see Dr. Golda as with this, capacity and willingness to engage in that as just a gift for humanity.
Yep, so you're paying respect to all the hard work that Edwin put in and the gift that he's sharing, developing the center as well as this overall community. And you're appreciating Dr. Golda's presence and contributions as well. Yeah,
and the gift of each of you who I've been in empathy circles with that has led me to Mickey Cashton and her work on interdependence. Yeah.
So you're naming Mickey Cashton and their work specifically on themes of interdependence between people.
And there is this collective capacity that empathy raises. Yeah. Thank you.
And yep. And just real quick, my understanding of that was it's that empathy is increasing. It supports the capacity of collective effort.
Thank you.
Yep, 100%. Sally, down to listen to me?
I'm here.
All right, so I'm gonna try to roll this into the topic of the day and about the center as time allows. But I just kind of wanted to visit, a basic strategy of building relationships with people who are ideological extremists. And I'll pause there.
Okay, you're gonna roll this into the topic of the day and the ideology of extremists in society.
Yeah, and so as a basic example, perhaps people who are current members of the Ku Klux Klan in the United States.
And example, people who are Ku Klux Klan in our society.
Yep. And part of what excites me about empathy circles is that people who have dedicated their careers for years, who may be like former members of the KKK, their main strategy is often deep listening for many years to people who are still inside of the KKK.
Okay, so sounds surprising, but this method within the KKK is actually deep listening to the others within the KKK.
And it wouldn't be within the KKK where they're listening. Well, they might be listening to each other, but it's former members of the KKK who are trying to get current members out. And the way, the easy way to do that, or the reliable way of doing that, is to do deep listening with people who are still inside, potentially for 1 to 5 or more years until they leave.
Okay, so people who are out of the KKK are using this intense, deep listening, and it may take 4 or 5 years to pull people into a kind of a frame of mind where they perceive something a little bit more realistic.
And oftentimes people become ideological extremists because of social isolation. There may be tragedy for their family. They may have been divorced or lost their child or children. And those kinds of life events could potentially make them vulnerable to being recruited by an organization like that.
Okay, so these kind of people and these kinds of circumstances can be because of like family tragedies or losing all these various different things that can happen, like their family can have, I'm sorry, but the whole different scenario than what a typical person has, and which kind of entraps them in a philosophy.
Yep. You got me. Thank you, Sally. And I'll try to expand on it if I get another turn.
Okay, Bill?
Listening?
Well, my vision for the center is to clarify the true history. And we are in a planet of fake history, and it's turning us backwards.
So your vision for the center is to have it facilitate the understanding of what you call true history, as opposed to a lot of the made-up history that we are inundated with.
Yeah, and democracy, where you've got these people who are thinking that Democrats are the fascists, and no, it's the goddamn truth. So it's what it is.
So you're dismayed by the fact that there's a message, where many people believe that Democrats are the fascists, and yeah.
It's more like back to the center and centering the center on, replacing history and politics, into the truth.
So you're seeing the center as a vehicle for helping people to understand the truth.
And listen to the truth when it's so easy to believe fake news as facts.
Right. So you're using that to be exposed to the truth in the center, and you're contrasting that with a lot of the fake facts that are on the news.
Yeah, that's all I have to say.
Okay. All right, Kathy?
I'm listening.
Great. So when I was at the Canoas Center, I had sort of like this little epiphany, and as seeing it as a place for really open-ended dialogue and philosophical musings.
So you had an epiphany when you were at the center as the possibility of open dialogue and philosophical musings.
Right. And I thought in history, about the times, and I thought to the golden age of Greece, which only lasted for 50 years.
And so it reminded you of the golden age of Greece, which only lasted for 50 years.
Right. And and there probably were others, but it's the most famous sort of foray into democracy and sort of inclusion, even though they had slaves and they eventually failed because their leader Pericles went on adventurous military adventures.
So it was 50 years, and even though there was slavery, it was the beginnings of a democracy or a demonstration of democracy, and it failed because Pericles went to war, took a lot of people to war, used a lot of resources.
Right, which ended in Athens' destruction, and I believe it was the Peloponnesian War with the War of Sparta.
Yeah, the war with Sparta is what ended the Athens era, and you think it was the Peloponnesian War.
Yeah, think maybe.
Yeah.
So I was just seeing that, and in that flowering, though, in the positive side, I mean, there was women's rights were asserted. And there was a woman, I think it was Hephaestus, who was leader of a philosophical movement, also consulted. Just an intensity of curious and inquisitive minds.
Mm-hmm. So during this time, different rights were burgeoning, including women's rights, and a lot of inquisitiveness and curiosity was allowed and pursued.
Right. And I was just struck that thousands of years later, we see that 50-year period as just so vivid. So why do we do that? And I just believe that, as Larry has alluded to, many people, and Sally, that it was a deep truth that was being revealed. And that's what I feel is the potential of the center. And then I'm done. Thank you.
So you're musing as to what was so powerful about that 50-year period, and you're thinking that it was because of the truth of what was happening then is vital for humanity, and that's why we keep going back to that time.
Thanks. I feel fully heard.
Great. Oh. So Edwin, would you be my listener?
Listening.
Okay. So very exciting to have Dr. Golda, come here and talk about what she's talking about. I'm just really excited.
You're just really excited. Dr. Gold is here just sharing all the things she's been talking about.
Yes, because I'm aware a team will make this much more fun for you and generate ideas, contribute years of knowledge to what's unfolding.
Yeah, so having a team for me would just really help to sort of develop everything, to bring more knowledge in the team and community to the work here.
It would make it more fun for you.
Make it fun, more fun having a community.
Yes, having more support, not carrying this all on your shoulders.
And having more support, not everything on my shoulders would be very good.
Yes, yeah. Not only good for you, but good for the center. It would allow for a quicker unfolding.
Yeah, having more people would just allow the center to develop and unfold more quickly.
Yeah. And, more ideas. You know, there's this, what's the word? Blank, whatever the word is, when you have all these people coming together, generating ideas, it's moving it forward. I can't think of the word. Maybe someone else can on their turn.
Yes, there's a term you're trying to think of when people come together and move things forward. There's a word that you're looking for, and you just can't
Yes,
remember quite what it is.
it's like a choo-choo train chugging forward. You know, at first it's slow, and then all of a sudden it's this light rail that's going who knows how many miles an hour. So right now, I think you're in the chugging stage.
Yeah. So it's this idea that we're in the chugging stage here, kind of, working slowly, and then there's sort of that takeoff moment where it turns into a bullet train.
Yes, and I think the bullet train needs a team of all these different ideas, synergy. Yeah.
So it takes a whole team of synergy to be able to have that launching, that big acceleration to happen.
Yes. Thank you. I feel fully heard.
Okay, thanks. I'll speak to Golda then next.
Yes.
I wanted to mention to Bill that we're calling it the Empathy Center now. We're not using Canoas Center anymore. That was kind of when we first got started. So now we're just saying the Empathy Center, and theempathycenter.org is where is the landing page right now.
So you just wanted to clarify that the new name is the Empathy Center, and you can find it at empathycenter.org.
Yeah, and I wanted to talk to you a lot more about all your experiences with all these centers. I lived at Esalen for a year as well, and so yeah, it's really great to have you here.
Thank you. So you wanted to align and thank me for the work that I've done with initiating centers, and you shared that you lived at Esalen for a year, and we're very involved there.
And besides having community events here and then workshops, I'm also looking into how we can set up a process for lived work, finding people who are behind the mission that want to build that culture of empathy, want to live here, do kind of work, live sort of arrangement, and how to sort of structure that, how do we kind of efficiently effectively set that up? So that's just something we've been working on.
So in addition to offering community space and workshops, you're looking at the potential of using the facility as a live and work center to build the culture of empathy in a very effective way.
Yeah, it's sort of like, Spirit Rock or Green Gulch, or this was actually a community of practice as well. It was a Catholic community of practice. So they had their core trainers, who were working with the Catholic, faith. Spirit Rock and Green Gulch or Buddhist sort of centers. So what we want to create is a center, a community of practice around empathy. And, we got to get that core group of people who are like the priests or the whatever, we're not religious, but secular, but that core sort of team that wants to move that vision forward.
So you would like to model something like Spirit Rock or Green Gulch, which I actually was very involved in, to practice, to create a practice like a Buddhist or Christian practice around empathy with a core team.
Yeah, just that one term is community of practice is sort of the concept of a group around a practice. Yeah.
So you specifically are looking at the term community of practice.
Yes, I feel heard.
Thank you. I don't see the group.
Can you go up to view in the top right-hand corner?
I'm trying. Oh,
click
there
on
you-
She's
that?
on a
You'll
cell
see it.
phone. It might be hard on the cell phone.
Oh,
It was a
gotcha.
swipe. I was looking for a button. So yeah,
Gotcha.
now I see everyone. Larry, would you be my listener?
Ready, Dr. Golden. Ready.
my buddy. So as you know, I was trained in this reflective listening part of the training that Catherine Train and Ludwig have been doing. And I spent a year and a half with them learning empathy the way they do it to apply to corporations.
Hmm. So you've used the practice of active listening or reflective listening in, I think you said corporations, and you were trained with a couple of trainers that I just don't recall the names of, but sounds like they were important trainers, I'll say that.
Yes. And I've also been working for over 20 years with a empathy center that now is in Slovakia, a college for empathy.
And you've also been working with a center in Slovakia, and the center's been training empathy, I think you said, for 20 years?
30 years. 30 years. Yeah. So we train counselors and facilitators and do self-development work. And I really resonate with the intention that Edwin is putting out around it's a practice and it's a community. And it needs to be established not around just one religion, but all different ways of being human.
So you really resonate with what Edwin is bringing forth, that it's a practice and it's a community, and it's not just one type of religion. It's a community practice. And you also mentioned I think you said Slovakia, a center that's been going for 20 years or something like that.
Right. Yeah. They're actually, it's a center that began in Israel and then went to Australia. And I got trained in South Africa in 2000, and then the UK. And currently there are 2 locations, and obviously they're online in Slovakia and Central Europe.
So it's an international center, and it's online, and you went through a training, I think you said in Africa.
South Africa. Mm-hmm.
South Africa.
Mm-hmm. So, and I'm very much aligned with the work of Dr. Rudolf Steiner, who has created many communities revolving around regenerative agriculture, the Waldorf school system, et cetera, et cetera. So that's another model to bring to our times.
I'm hearing Rudolf Steiner's work and the Waldorf Center, I think you said, and regenerative gardening, I think it is, regenerative permaculture maybe, and lots of international involvement, and more than I can remember and reflect.
I'll go smaller. Yes.
That was time.
Thank you, Dr. Goldberg.
Thank you, Larry.
Are we okay on time?
Yeah, maybe one more person. Edwin, or 2 more people?
Maybe one more, and then we can open it to just discussion
Great.
about the center, any questions, ideas, and then fine,
Great.
close.
Okay, Larry, you can finish us off.
Okay, Kathy, will you be my listener?
Yes, I'm listening.
I love Empathy Center. I love Empathy Circles.
Everything about empathy, circle, center, you love.
Thank you, Kathy. I feel fully heard.
Great. Thank you. So shall we do like a 1-minute checkout each? And then if people have questions, they can answer them as part of the ask them as part of the checkout.
Okay.
Okay, Larry, do you want to guide us in that 1 minute each for everybody? And if somebody has a question, they can answer it and Edwin ask it and Edwin can answer it at the time or toward the end, however he wants to do that.
So do you want me to start with maybe Zach and just say, it says a 1 minute share. How was your experience in the Empathy Circle today?
And also, I just put the question, what were any ideas about building the Empathy Center that stood out for you and that you would like to work on? So just kind of thinking kind of next steps that you'd like to do.
All right, Zach?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, good times. And forgive me, it was more of a question for Dr. Golda, but I'd love to ask her if she could share like on the college system that you named that's in South Africa, Australia, and Slovakia, and in terms of you know I think what continues to stand out for me is integration with the community. So how Edwin explained, bringing in that mindfulness group and offering the library basically as a kind of community center. I think that's a really good productive direction to take because it generates high quality relationships, buy-in. You're sharing the wealth with stakeholders in the community, and that's gonna create a lot of different kinds of opportunities.
Thank you, Zach. And Bill, would you share your ideas of building the Empathy Center?
Well, I'm really excited to be doing the in-person training and to hear all the people are excited, and also to meet new people, Dr. Golda and Stefan and Mike, if he comes back, and just to kind of share and just watch things grow. Thanks.
Thank you, Bill. And Dr. Golda, would you share your ideas and insights of building the Empathy Center in California?
Well, I'm excited to get involved. I'd like to obviously learn more, see how and what I could contribute. I think that Bill and Edwin and I kind of come out of the same background, being in the Bay Area during the late 60s and early 70s, where we had this vision of co-creating communities for the new age. And we've been doing it in our own little way, and having a place where it could be grounded and where we could bring these different schools together and actually work and live together could be an ideal wish. So I'm very interested in participating and learning more about how I could be of service. The name of the program for Zach, it is PACE, P-A-C-E. It's the School of Empathy, SKOOL. Because it is all done in Slovakian, and the creator and my friend the last 30 years and teacher's name is Yehuda Tagar. I am the only one trained in America so far. And I have a US passport. It's very difficult for Yehuda to come here. And he is currently teaching in many places. So, but I do have a huge resource of people from that school and from other Steiner movements that I'm involved in. And I was trained as a Buddhist nun by a Buddhist nun to facilitate Vipassana 10-day retreats many moons ago. So, and I worked with Jack and Joseph and all those people from that sector. But so I'm pretty eclectic as far as, and definitely into spending the rest of my life doing this work, with initiatives that align and individuals and organizations, et cetera, et cetera. So here I am. It just took me a little while to get here, but I'm here now. So please invite me to participate in whatever way that you would like. And we can look at, perhaps I come down for a week and spend time together with Edwin and the core team to really see how my services could be of benefit. And if it's a great fit, I have an institute living with a new institute. So I'm excited about that possibility.
Thank you, Golda. Thank you, thank you. And Jonathan, would you share your ideas and insights in building an empathy center in California?
Well, I'm very grateful to be here today. And I'm going to walk away with two very meaningful and positive changes. I really I think it's a wonderful idea to go with the empathy circle because I can't pronounce for the life of me the other name. And it is just so much closer to, well, it's branding what you're doing, which is empathy. Secondly, there is some nuance here. And I believe I'm going to be labeling my brochure a reflective listening circle because I think it's going to work better for the target group that we're trying to bring in. I think so there's some nuance here. Lastly, I'm impressed, and I want everyone to remember that there are multiple ways of demonstrating reflective listening, and that yes, we have a wonderful structure we're teaching, but it's also, we have to be flexible. And I'm grateful to be here today. Thank you.
Thank you, Jonathan. And Sally, would you share your ideas of building the Empathy Center in California?
Yeah, well, in between events and having a library and 55,000 square feet, I'm thinking, people who's, let's just say there's people traveling through that are interested in the Empathy Center and heard about it, and it's easily on the map. They stop in, they go to the library or one of these rooms, and you could actually go through some of Edwin's interviews. I mean, let's just say they're all there, and then they can just pick and choose. And then there's a screen, and everyone just sits there and watches these interviews. And anyway, that's kind of what I was thinking.
Thank you, Sally. And Crystal, would you share your vision of the Empathy Center in California, please?
Yeah, thank you. This community of practice is fundamental to these other centers that were mentioned, and it's also fundamental to Mickey Cashton's work in creating a full shared risk circular economy. She wouldn't call it economy. I'm going to use that term. And what I love hearing is Edwin's commitment to creating an interdependent community live-work space with events and opportunities for people to increase their collective capacity on empathy. And I believe in the power of storytelling, and my contribution would be that I'm working on case studies for NVC for people who are marginalized. And I want to speak briefly to Zach's comment about those who engage in power over dynamics and the impact that they can have on a movement. And so the beauty of the hero's journey is we have this act of separation, this ordeal as human beings that we all go through, and then the unification when we come together. And I think the Empathy Center has the potential to reflect that. And like Bill was saying from the Golden age of Greece to have a different ending for humanity, where we are at peace and in connection with each other. And yeah, so my contribution would be that I'd like to work on case studies. I want to continue every time I show up. I talk about the importance of having an in real life space and a space in the metaverse. I'm not compensated by anything I do in GatherTown. I am committed to building a space where people in Ukraine who are experiencing war or women in Afghanistan have the resources to at least engage in empathic, reflective listening, and open the door to a new way of being to overcome this domination and these power over dynamics that are oppressive and are really hurting all of us. What we do to one, we do to ourselves. So I'll close there.
Thank you, Crystal. And Kathy, would you share your vision of the Empathy Center in California?
Well, I don't have anything to share around that. I'm just very excited that there's this energy that seems to be coming together. So that's it.
Thank you, Kathy. Yeah, I keep having this, what it is, what is it? It's like human beings need a demonstration of a real empathy community before we can believe that it's possible. And I think the Empathy Center in California offers that example, a living example that it's really possible. So I'll stop with that and turn it over to Edwin. What is your vision, Edwin, of an Empathy Center in California?
Okay, I laid out a lot of the, some of the next steps that we're working on here with using the space, having workshops, developing that live work experience. And I just put in the video, some links. So the first one is the video of the last event to give you a bit of a flavor of what it looked like. You can just open that and bookmark it. There's 2 upcoming events here, Saturday 23rd and September 23rd, and then September 16th and 17th. There are 2 in-person events that you can attend. Golda, if you're going to come up for the training, if you're thinking of visiting, that would be a good time to come to either or both of those events. They're just a week apart. Also, I put my email in there too. If you want to email me, Golda, we can maybe set up a time to talk, just to, see you get your thoughts with so much experience around, different retreat centers or initiatives like that. It would be great to just talk to you personally about all that you've done. So if you want to email me, we can schedule that. So otherwise, things are moving along. We have the training coming up. There we also have the next, so every Saturday we have this call. So everyone can come and keep attending, bring friends, and we'll keep growing that. I haven't sent out emails recently because announcements. We're going to do that this week just to get let everybody know about the events. And so that's about it. And the volunteers group, that's what I was trying to remember, is Friday we have a volunteers group, but we're sort of working on the Empathy Summit at that. So every 2 months we're holding a summit, empathy training summit, and Catherine Train, actually, who she's going to be speaking at that too. So we could actually talk, if you're doing empathy training programs, maybe you could be a speaker. We're going to be splitting that up. It was September 2nd, but I have like 18 speakers already, so I'm thinking of doing the September 2nd and the 9th to split up, so do 2 events in this same time slot. So there's a lot of balls in the air. Things are moving along, so glad to see everybody here. And I think we're ready to close just with our jazz hands. Kathy?
Yes, thanks everybody for being
everybody.
here. And close with our jazz hands.
Okay, bye.
Good night. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Edwin, I put my email in your.
Oh, there it is. Okay.
Please let me know your availability. And
Okay.
I'm free most days after 12.
Okay.
So
Later
just let me
today.
know what your time is like. Today I'm in a meeting until 3. Probably better on Monday.
Okay. I'll have to email you. I'm going back to the Bay Area